So you're taking pre-workout and you want to know how to use it better. How are you going to optimize your pre-workout routine? So something that I found, again, through my athletic career and training is most of the time or some of the time I don't want to train because it's tough, especially when you're training twice a day, every day, 6 days a week, and you're preparing for a fight. But the only reason I do train is because I know I've got a fight and I push myself mentally and I get there. Then when my fighting career ended, and had less of a like it wasn't my job to be in the gym, so I had less things pushing me to go to the gym. I never really used to take pre-workout when I was an athlete as much because maybe it wasn't around as much. It wasn't such a available thing. It wasn't being pushed as much as it is now. I feel like caffeine intake and pre-workout is getting pushed like crazy, and we see it everywhere. And I think one of the problems that people don't understand about pre-workout is it becomes very addictive to take. Every time I'm going to train, I'm going to take this pre-workout and I need crazy. I'm going to take C4 or I'm going to take this, or maybe I'm going to take an energy drink. And people started drinking Monster before they go to the gym, or they started drinking heavy coffee before going to the gym as well, which is probably the best solution if you're trying to do pre-workout, I would say, is coffee, because most of the positive that you're getting from taking on the pre-workout is from the caffeine. There's other things in there like taurine and other crap that's going to affect your system and be bad for you. Like I would never recommend anyone takes any pre-workout. So the only pre-workout I would recommend would be caffeine, because that's the main thing that you're getting from it. But what I'm trying to say about how to take it and prioritize it or to optimize it is understanding what it is and why you're using it. So it gets quite complicated, but your training schedule I'm going to talk as an athlete, because you're training so often, you break down your schedule into different days. So you break down if you're going to have a different sessions. So maybe you're going to have like a green session, which is like an easy session, or maybe you're going to have a red session, which is a tough session. So if I'm going to have a red session, let's say I'm going to talk about weightlifting, it's like leg day, which is very, very tough. And I'm gonna go for like 1 rep max on legs. And I know it's gonna be a heavy session and it's gonna be hard. That day might require a bit of an extra boost or an extra push to give me that pre-workout. Maybe, if that's how you wanna look at it. But my green day, where I'm just doing a little bit of light cardio and I'm, stretching, there's no reason that I need to take pre-workout for that. Right, so this maybe seems obvious, but a lot of guys get into the routine of pre-workout every day, and they take pre-workout every morning, and they scoop it in, and they drink it, or they have a Monster, or they have caffeine, and then you feel like you can't perform without it, and you get it into your mind that you have to take it. So you're constantly burning this. And the issue with that, if you're taking pre-workout 5 times a week or 6 times a week, you never actually know how you feel or how your body is. So you don't see this is what leads to injuries and a lot of problems long term, is people don't see the red flags of their body. Their body is trying to tell them something. If you are tired and you are underperforming and you're not hitting your reps that you want to hit, or you're not hitting the measurement that you're trying to make, there's a reason for that. And by just slamming some pre-workout to make sure that you hit the reps is not going to improve your overall health. It's not going to improve your physique. It's not going to improve anything long term. You might get a short-term boost from it, but long term you're actually damaging your body rather than building your body. So understanding how you feel and having a baseline of where you're at is super important in training. That's what leads to, like I say, a lot of injuries and a lot of problems. And injuries can become, they can put you off training forever and you could never train again, or they can really, really affect you for a long time. Whereas just taking a session off because you're not feeling right, instead of slamming some pre-workout and then injuring yourself or pushing yourself too hard because you can't sense the problem, obviously over the long term, it's not going to benefit you. So what I suggest doing is understanding the intention of your sessions. And what I had was, I used to have a training journal where I would write down every session that I had. I would write down how I felt before the session, how I felt after the session, how hard the session was supposed to be, and I would set myself tasks in that session. That's like a life hack in itself, if you want to call it that. So every session I go into with intention. And if I wasn't feeling good, it says you're on a 1 to 10 scale, I had like a 2 or a 3, and I went to that session, and after the session, sometimes they were the best I ever performed. because I felt so low and I thought I was going to get a bad day, but then I did well because I pushed myself. That's great. That's fantastic. There's nothing wrong with changing that. But if I go into the session feeling low and I come out the session feeling low, that was better off not being a training session because I'm not getting anything from that. So if every week I'm writing these things down and I'm seeing when I feel low and all this sort of stuff, I can then eliminate some of the sessions that are making me, that I don't need. I'm not prioritizing. I shouldn't be taking pre-workout just to get that session in. And I'm talking now from like an aesthetics point of view or a health point of view. If you are a professional fighter or a professional sportsman, training's your job. So sometimes you just got to suck it up and you got to do it. But if you're just an average guy who wants to look in shape and wants to train and wants to feel good about themselves, taking pre-workout can actually have a bad impact on your life and a bad impact on your progress because you're not measuring where you're at in life and where you're at in your training journey. So I would suggest having it as a red day. I'm going to smash the gym today for 45 minutes to an hour and it's going to be a hell of a session. That's important. So that's when you should be looking at taking pre-workout, when you're feeling good already. So you're trying to get that extra edge. We should be able to perform without caffeine. You have to remember as well, caffeine is a performance-enhancing drug. That is how it's classified. When you're fighting in the UFC, you are not allowed to drink caffeine before you compete. It's illegal because it's a performance-enhancing drug. So you have to understand you are taking a performance-enhancing drug every time you have a coffee. So by slamming the amount of milligrams that's in a pre-workout, you are literally supercharging your body to perform. So if you're supercharging your body to go and do a 20-minute jog, what's the point? It's really, you're ruining your receptors, you're ruining your health, you're ruining your body, and you're not actually getting what pre-workout was designed for. It is being marketed to you to make you the best athlete and do all these things, and it can do that, but it's not the foundation of what like health and sport is about. It's an added extra. So you need to treat it like an added extra to get the best out of your peak performance days. So that is one bit of advice, to take less pre-workout, to understand your body a little bit better. And if you're not feeling up to having a session, just take the day off. Maybe take 2 days off. And well rested, when you come back in the gym, I guarantee you smash the numbers that you were going to try and do anyway, rather than pushing yourself to take pre-workout. And this is not, you understand, it's not an excuse to be lazy. I'm talking about people that take training very, very seriously and they do it on a serious, in a serious way. If you're training 5-6 times a week and you're training hard and you're pushing your body, sometimes taking a day off is always going to be better than taking pre-workout. So the way to optimize your pre-workout is to understand when you should take it, understand why you're taking it, understand the session that you're going to do, and also the time that you take it before training, because I believe it's 30 minutes to 45 minutes until your body metabolizes the pre-workout. So that stuff that gives you like an itchy face and all that sort of things when you take your pre-workout, that doesn't help you do anything. It's just caffeine that's going to help you. So you want to have your caffeine 30 to 45 minutes before you work out. So don't be walking into the gym drinking a Monster thinking that's going to help you perform, because that's not going to hit you until 45 minutes later. And then you're going to be messed up your glucose systems and energy systems way before that, because you're probably pushing too hard because you feel this, this energy high or whatever. So I would be super aware of that. I would completely avoid taking sugar in any sort of pre-workout any way that you can. You should not be ingesting sugar just before you work out. It's bad for your system. I would look at all the bad things that are in pre-workout, and I would try and really, really pull back on taking pre-workout unless it's mainly caffeine based. So I would much prefer you guys took a double espresso than you take one of those shots of whatever it's going to be called. I'm not going to talk about any brands. And then make sure you're hydrated as well. Because if you're not hydrated and you're going to the gym and you're slamming pre-workout and you're training and you're sweating, then you're going to leave the training session feeling like crap because you're really dehydrated. And dehydration has a much higher impact on performance than a bit of caffeine does. So you need to make sure your hydration is at peak levels. We're always dehydrated as people, especially after sleep. So you need to make sure you're hydrated. So you're much better off drinking 2 liters of water in the morning and then banging a coffee in your system before you work out than you are waking up, doing a pre-workout and going to the gym. I would look into it. I would see how you feel. I would test yourself for 3 weeks to 4 weeks to 2 months over a system of not doing pre-workout and doing pre-workout and seeing what results you get. And I would take a much better, approach to just thinking, oh yeah, pre-workout helps, let's slam this thing because I'm going to feel fantastic. Really, really watch the long-term effects. If you're serious about training, you are going to be training for the rest of your life, every year, days on end, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, every year till you're in your 80s, 90s. That's the idea of health and fitness and training. So if that's the reality, you're going to be doing this for the rest of your life. These small increments of caffeine consumption and these chemicals that you're putting in your system, you are going to be putting those chemicals into your system forever. So think about that next time you take a pre-workout. Think, am I going to be doing this for the next 100 years? If I'm going to be doing this for the next 100 years, I need to find a better way to supplement myself when I'm not feeling like working out. If that's rest, if that's hydration, or if that's just a little bit of coffee, those things are definitely going to help you. So hopefully this helps, and let me know in the comments how you feel about after it, when you've not taken the pre-workout, when you have taken the pre-workout, little things that you're doing with your system and your training to try and improve.